Okay, thank you very much, team. And now we move to the Physical Recreation and Sports Strategy update. Welcome, Elizabeth. Good. Is Nigel here?
No, he's away.
Okay, well, Brent's coming, that's good. All right, if you can give us just a very quick run through and then we'll open it up for questions.
So as the brief indicated, we're here to talk about the Physical Recreation and Sports Strategy. As previously identified, this strategy was looked at to be reviewed. While looking at that process, we've deemed that in the current environment, the recommendation is that the strategy remains in its current form and that we look to really focus on what's delivered against the strategy, and through consolidating current initiatives and planning, forming a unit-specific action plan that can be effectively communicated both internally and externally.
Great. Questions? Jimmy.
Question is because these are the physical recreation sport strategy has been established, launched in back to the 2002. Over the last 19 years, whether we have developed any kind of action plan for the implementation or never. So now we thought that this strategy should be implemented, then we consider develop. This is my question.
In the years that I've been at Council, I'm not aware of a specific implementation plan that's been linked through. There's been work that's been achieved through other means within Council, so through levels of service and through other aspects.
Yeah, through your activity management plans, through the go up every LTP, there'll be implementation done via that. But this is a specific implementation plan developed now to continue on with that work.
I know, my question is because we have a strategy, strategic document, but actually its main purpose for the implementation. But this one, over the last 19 years, we never implement or we have implement. But maybe, it's affiliated with some other strategy or not. I don't know. It's my question.
I think on that question we can get the head of Rec and Sport to come back with some details on that.
Okay.
All right.
Yanni.
I think that would be good. Like we've got a draft sports facilities plan that's been just kicking around for about 10 years. I was hoping we would have that in time for the 2015 LTP to inform where we were spending money on sports facilities, but we haven't got it. And basically, if you look at this recreation and sports plan, one of the things is it talks about recreation and sport facilities built in open space are well utilised and needs are clearly prioritised. So we've actually got that other piece of work happening, but there's no kind of link between the two that I can see. So I think it would be really good to get an update on, because I agree we don't need to reinvent the strategy. There's actually the principles and the values in it are quite good, but then it's got a whole bunch of actions that are just sort of going nowhere, and there's no alignment to the other work that we're doing. So how can we get alignment between the sports facilities plan, the children's playground strategy, in a timely way that informs our budgeting and gives effect to the strategy?
So in speaking with the planner involved in the sports network plan, she's indicated that subject to resources that the draft will be, with a draft plan, will be presented back through to the committee before the end of the year. So that body of work is separate to the body of work that we're presenting on today, but is indeed moving forward and going, and will be coming back through to committee.
But what are we actually going to consult our key stakeholders on?
Well, it's engagement rather than consultation.
Well, sorry, what are we going to collaborate with them on if it's not for we're going to upgrade this sports park or we're going to build this sports facility?
So this is talking about an implementation plan for the strategy. You've got different layers underneath that. There's a network plan being done for the sports parks. There's a network plan being done for play and rec facilities. They're all just parts of the jigsaw. So this implementation plan will come back for information here to this committee, so you can have a look at at exactly what you're saying, Councillor Johansson, as to how we're going to deliver on the different aspects of the strategy.
So
So can I just check in? Does this mean that you're going to be engaging on some of the key priority areas to see if that still rings true with the community? Is that right?
So what we're looking to do is to consolidate the initiatives that are being completed by the Rec and Sport unit, and looking to bring that together with the planning that's been undertaken with the unit to identify what is being delivered against the strategic outcomes of the strategy.
Yeah.
And not only looking at the physical recreation and sports strategy, but also looking at the other strategic documents across council, and also the documents externally that feed in through to the work that is done.
Yeah, and so that we are engaging to make sure that we're not duplicating what other organisations are doing, and that what we do is complementary and not duplication.
And there's a significant amount in sport and rec that's done in partnership with the community agencies, so sports agencies, private providers. So it's about that collaboration that they can get by working together with those people.
So the intention is for an internal document that sits behind the strategy, but that collaboration and that communication with those key stakeholders is vital, so that it brings it all together, and as a city we grow forward.
But, sorry, who are the key stakeholders?
Currently conversations have started with Sport Canterbury, the CDHB, RSO, Sport NZ. So it's looking at those organisations that also deliver and lead sport for the community.
Right. And how does this compare to the spaces and places sports plan that Sport Canterbury did after the earthquake, like the sports recovery plan?
The Rec and Sport unit have fed into the recent review of that document, which occurred this year, and so it's part of it. So it's part of that conversation around ensuring that, as been indicated, that work isn't duplicated.
But we haven't even seen that document. Like, we weren't involved in that review at all.
It's not our document.
Well, the council's been very involved in it.
Yeah, just because we haven't seen it as a council, so you guys have seen it? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, and if you'd like a look, I'm sure that it'd be made available.
I just feel like we need to get a kind of presentation about all the stuff that's happening in sports and rec, because basically we've got LTP budgets that we're setting.
Yanni, so I don't
There's
know,
facilities
you missed
there.
it this morning. We've got a series of updates coming from the various teams now that hasn't happened in the past. So today we're starting with libraries and the art gallery. We're going to have parks, we're going to have rec and sport, a series of updates on the work that each of those areas
You know,
are
I
doing.
heard that. I didn't miss it, but it's quite different to just being told what's happening versus having some governance oversight of decision making and where the priorities are.
So that
And
will
so
be-
what I don't understand, like for the budget, for example, we've got a whole bunch of stuff like a thing that's just we've heard just now that's been reviewed, but we don't have any sense of that, and we're going to be asked to set our budget.
So
Next
everything
month.
that you fund is in the activity management plans. So that's what activity management plans and LTPs are about. So the strategies guide the work, guide the direction, but actually budgeting's done through the LTP and activity management
That's
plans,
right.
and you approve those.
And so
we have
if you go
details
back
of
to the
who
sports
goes.
facilities plan, the idea was that we talk to the different codes, we identify what the priorities are, and then that feeds in, at a governance level we sign off on that feeds into our budget, right? That's the whole point of us engaging with these stakeholders, is to find out what the priorities are, look at what the budgets can be allocated based on what we agree. So I guess what I'm concerned about is that this is all happening after our LTP, and there's other work that's happening that we've just heard about today that could possibly be informing us.
So I think that that's not a conversation that can be dealt with in this particular report that's here in front of us,
Right.
but that's something that you might like to raise in an informal or part of the LTP process. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the key is that in looking at the old strategy, and I say it's old because it's 2002, and when you look at the chart that was attached to the report, you see how relevant it all still is, and that's why the sense checking has gone on against Sport Canterbury and Sport New Zealand. So it's just a body of work that didn't need to be done, but we can put our energies into getting a 3-year implementation plan and getting it back to committee.
That's great. Thank you very much. Do I have a mover for receiving that? Tim, a seconder, Jimmy? Any debate? Jimmy?
Because It's also my concern. We have lots of different strategic document strategy. However, we didn't have kind of budget support those action plan or implementation plan. But this one would like to consider working together with the key stakeholders and also partner to establish one. That's pretty good. That's very good. But I'm still concerned. For instance, like GoTo in here, particularly emphasize all those sport and the activities, they are made available to all citizens of Christchurch and beyond. If that's true, we still need to consider the geographic area or demographic area. There's a total difference now. We are diversified the city and the community, and the age, the children, or different ethical, possibly, and high possibility, there are different requests, different needs. So this one, is urgent to establish one, but also the long-term plan, I'm not sure, long-term plan, draft one, we already put on the budget, whether the time is sufficient or not. So this is my particular, the concern, yeah.
Thank you. Any further debate? No? Okay, so I'll put that. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Declare that carried. Thank you very much. Right, now we move